Frangie Show on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
All right, welcome in. Today's new drug is another tough weekend. Jags lose in a bizarre game. FSU Miami, by the way, FSU Miami, JJ went exactly how you said, not how we, you called that. JJ said FSU's defense will be more of a problem than we realize, but it'll still be 30-something to whatever. JJ, I thought you hit that one, brother.
Yeah, they were playing not to get their butt kicked.
Right.
And they sort of did anyways. So congrats, Mike Norvell. You didn't get 50 dropped on you.
It wasn't, I thought a 50-burger was coming. It wasn't, but we'll get to that coming up in a bit. It's Florida-Georgia week, so we'll certainly talk about that game. Our friend Jeff Danzler will join us this week from 960 The Ref in Athens in the Bulldog Radio Network, and certainly we'll talk plenty of Gators throughout the week as we always do. So that's always a fun week, Florida-Georgia, even though it looks like what's the line down to? 17 now, I think I saw?
I saw 16.5.
16.5, yeah. So it's which, by the way, that line's about right because I'm not sure where I'd go. The line's right if you're not sure where you'd go.
Yeah, I would think you'd get 50% of the money on each side of that. So maybe a little bit more towards the Georgia side. So if it moves again, I would think maybe it moves to 17.
I agree.
But that's the kind of game I see, like a 34-17 Georgia win kind of thing.
So it's throughout the course of the week today, we'll talk about Florida, Georgia, some of the memories, some of the games that stood out. Really want to get into why it matters so much around here, why that game means so much. Have you seen some of the signs around town? Since 19, I'm glad they said that. The signs now say since 1933, which I'm glad. I mean, I'm glad they tell the story. That is,
it's almost a century.
I mean, it's hard to believe. Since 1933, they've played here. There have been some years they didn't. Obviously, World War II, they didn't. Obviously, in 94 and 95, they didn't when they were rebuilding the stadium. But for the most part, it's been here since 1933. So we'll certainly talk about that and about the teams in the game. So all that coming up as well. Crazy times in the NFL, not apart from here. Did you see the Hail Mary?
I was watching live.
Were you really?
It was one of the greatest NFL plays I've ever seen. I mean, it was just unbelievable. It'll be our take flight moment of the week later in the show. But I mean, how Washington went about that entire thing. The second to last play where they've got 6 seconds, but the Bears are playing off, so they go ahead and do the wise thing, pick up 13 easy yards on a down and out, and get out of bounds with 3 seconds. And then Jaden Daniels to take 12 seconds before launching it with a rib injury and to put the ball where he placed it, perfect loft. And then obviously you get the break of all breaks. But just, I mean, he is a superstar. He has raced past a lot of the quarterbacks that were considered like good or up and coming. I mean, I think if you did an open draft of the NFL right now, I'm not sure Jaden Daniels isn't a top 3 overall pick.
Well, he's playing right now. It's hard to argue. It'll be interesting. If this holds up, and it looks, why wouldn't it, to your point?
Well, and for him to gut through the injury, I mean, he played pretty well.
Right.
They had to settle for a lot of field goals, but the fact that he gutted it out and played through the rib injury, still was able to run the ball like he was able to run the ball, and then to make that kind of play to win the game, I mean, it's MVP stuff.
Boy, does he throw a beautiful ball, too.
Absolutely.
And in addition to being this great athlete. Boy, the Anthony Richardson story was weird too, wasn't it? I mean, he came out of the game because he was fatigued. I was just, I hate to see.
I mean, has he never heard of like check to a run?
Yeah.
I mean, if the coach calls pass, just get up to the line and say, you know what, I don't like the look. Jonathan Taylor, here's the ball.
And I like him, and people beat him up a lot. But that was a bizarre.
He's terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, they missed as we thought they probably had, and. But that's one that's really tough to recover from in the locker room. I mean, it just is. And I have to think that the professional players in that locker room that have been in the league for a long time, they have got to be going up to Steichen and Ballard and saying, what are we doing? We can make the tournament with Joe Flacco.
Right.
What are we doing playing this guy? And I think he's been largely dreadful when he's been on the field, and I don't think it's going to change all that much. And now the fact that his toughness is going to be called into question really complicates things for him.
So we'll talk about that. If we get to it, we'll talk about what a moment for Freddie Freeman.
Oh,
what a magical moment. Again, I don't have a team in it. I don't care who wins, but I mean, what a magical moment for those of us who just love the sport and love the game and love the moment. It was, and Joe Davis crushed it, I thought, on the call. I thought he was fantastic. What? I mean, I could tell from your tweet, you jumped off the couch.
Oh, yeah.
And you watch about one baseball game a decade.
Yeah, it was Jackson and I were watching it, and we kind of just flipped it over. We were looking forward to watching Genty, the Boise State running back, Friday night. And so I was like, you know what, let's just flip it over and watch this. So we just watched the last couple of innings, and I mean, again, he hasn't watched a lot of baseball in his life because I don't watch baseball.
Right, that's right.
But we had a great time watching it and seeing that moment live. We watched it, then we rewound it and watched it again. It was that kind of moment where you watched it for the 10-minute celebration, and then we rewound it right back to the start of it where the Yankees guy made the dazzling catch on Ohtani.
Went into the crowd, which caused the runners to have to move bases, which caused the intentional walk, which led to the grand
that's
slam.
right, because then they intentionally walked Betts, and so it was magnificent. It was one of the best sports moments that I've seen, and then you had the Jaden Daniels. I mean, it was almost like having two in a span of 48 hours.
Pretty amazing.
Just you had to sort of pinch yourself. You couldn't believe it.
Were you watching live, JJ?
Of course,
Yeah.
Me and my wife and I. You know, Freddie's he was a very popular person in my house for a long time, and I think I'm officially over it. I jumped off the couch, and I was just like, did he really just do that?
Yeah.
I kept saying that. Did he really just do that? I mean, if you haven't been following the playoffs, he's been hurt. He didn't play in 2 of the games last series, his ankle. And you just knew he would start game 1, and a great moment for him and with his dad at the end. I just love stuff like that, even though he did leave the Braves. It was such a special moment, and I'm glad the World Series for at least the first 2 games has lived up to the hype because I thought both games were phenomenal.
I did too, and I jumped off the couch, and I literally jumped off the couch. I couldn't believe it. It was a magical moment, and I didn't care if the Yankees wanted. I truly. Sometimes you say you don't care, and then you start watching, and you find yourself leaning one way. I didn't care. I just thought it was a magical moment, and what a great moment for baseball. So we'll get to that coming up. But obviously, we'll start with the Jaguars. That'll be most of our topic much of the day today. Bucky Brooks checks in at 5 o'clock. He was on the sideline and in the locker room, and he'll give you his thoughts on that as well. A bizarre loss, a gut-wrenching loss at a game you kind of had to have. You were 2-5. But you had a chance to win 2 in a row and 3 out of 4, and the other team lost their most important player a series in. It was there are so many storylines in that one. The inability to get going on offense to start. There were 6 minutes left in the half when the Jags had their first down. I'm still a little bit hoarse. I apologize for that. I'll gut through it, but I mean my voice isn't clean yet. Yesterday, by the way, I made it 3.5 quarters. And then about the last 6 minutes were kind of horsey. So if you listen to JJ knows because JJ's here working.
I noticed.
Yeah,
I was praying for you, bro.
Probably the last 6 minutes, I think, JJ. I think I got it to about 6 minutes left in the game. Then I'm like,
I was like, I hope there's not OT.
Ran through my mind too. Okay, ran through my mind too. So, but we get it out. But the storylines, the not being able to do anything offensively in the first quarter and a half. I mean, no first down. Still 6 minutes left in the half. 0 of 9 on third down plays until the touchdown to Ingram was bizarre. But more bizarre to me was when you find the 2 times you roared back with your offense. And by the way, 2 bad mistakes by Trevor. If you look at the storylines, the slow in whatever order you want to put them in, the slow start on offense is part of it. The very bad turnovers by Trevor are part of it. Trevor rallying him and coming back and playing superbly, as you wrote in your column, which you did a great job on.
Thanks.
Was a big storyline. But maybe the biggest storyline to me was the inability of the defense after as an old baseball pitcher, they tell you the most important inning is the inning after the inning. You know that, JJ? They would tell us as a baseball pitcher, I had more pitching coaches tell me the most important inning is after we get 3 or 4 in the bottom of the third.
Absolutely.
The top of the fourth. The next half inning is the most important inning you will pitch because it's the inning after we went ahead. And when the Jags went ahead 17-13 and Jordan Love's out of the game, the Packers went 80 yards in 8 plays and threw 1 pass. And then when the Jags tied it up 27-27 on brilliant playing by Trevor Lawrence with most of his receivers out and an unbelievable play by maybe the best pass-catching tight end in the NFL, and Evan Ingram in the corner, and the place was juiced and there was momentum. They allowed a 51-yard pass to a guy who's probably not a very good passer. Now, he's a very good passer for guys running wide open. And so to me, of all the things that hurt, the slow start, the very bad turnovers, the inability to make third and short still, I think the two defensive breakdowns, the 80-yard drive after 17-13 and the 51-yard pass after 27-27, or what is hardest for me to get beyond. It was a very weird game. Is that a safe call? It was a weird game.
Very weird game, and that they all took turns at times playing really bad football.
Yeah, that's right.
And again, to me, obviously, you look big picture now at 2-6, and the road that they have coming up, they could easily be 2-10. They're going to be a massive underdog they already are to Philadelphia, but I would think that's going to hold with Minnesota, certainly Detroit, who will beat them into 1,000 pieces, and then Houston here. So, I mean, yeah, it's obviously you're on the brink. You're not mathematically out of it yet, but you need a 7-2 finish in your final 9. That's going to be awfully difficult. But what I keep coming back to is when the Doug Peterson era is over, which obviously we're either a week or 3 weeks or 2 months away from, what I think everybody historically is going to remember the play calling controversy and remember it more for offensive issues. But he's been completely derailed here by his inability to pick a good defensive coordinator. Mike Caldwell was a reach and one that did not pan out. And we talked about it. And look, I was wrong because I got excited about Ryan Nielsen. But when he fired Mike Caldwell, we talked about it. You need to really go get somebody that's been a defensive coordinator in this league for at least a decade. Go get one of those. Go get a Ron Rivera. Go get some sort of savvy guy. Maybe it's a head coach that just lost his job but wants to remain in the league as a coordinator. You know, Vrabel wasn't going to qualify for that because he's going to sit out and try and get another head coaching job. But there were plenty of veteran guys defensively that Doug could have tried to hire. And what he ended up doing is hiring a defensive coordinator that was even more inexperienced than the one that he fired. Now, Ryan Nielsen said all the right things and got us all excited, but ultimately, I mean, it's if this is it for Doug, and he is certainly, I would say, on the wrong end of the bubble, then in 3 years, it's going to be that complete failure to produce a defense that was even remotely competent. And that's been the real disappointing part of this all. Certainly, are there problems offensively? Absolutely. I mean, it's not only the defensive issue, but I think when you look at his tenure on the whole, it's going to be that he was 0-2 hiring defensive coordinators, and it really hurt him. I mean, he said today he was asked, "Are you going to, kind of incorporate yourself more into the defensive game planning this week?" And he said, "No, I'm an offensive guy, and I'm going to leave it." I mean, again, you can't delegate that now. I mean, he delegates way too much stuff. I mean, he should be calling the plays. We know that, but Press Taylor is. All right, but now it's like, obviously, Ryan Nielsen needs some help. I mean, obviously, he's not getting the job done. And you're the head coach. So, I mean, who else is going to step in and offer something? It just, it's really unfortunate because ultimately I think it's going to be what does him in here. And it's a shame because we all like Doug, but he's now 20-22 overall. He's got a losing record as the Jaguars coach. And you're 3-11 in your last 14 with a team that is payroll-wise among the highest in the NFL.
The Jaguars are 14th as we sit here today, 14th in the league in total offense. So that's top half. It's not elite, but it's top half. They are 29th in defense. That is the biggest surprise to me, is that the defense, they haven't been good. They got defense wrong, whether it's the wrong coordinator, whether it's the wrong system, whether they tried to add weight to too many players in the offseason, so maybe it's a development thing or a nutrition thing, whether it's the wrong personnel and they just missed on some areas. They're 29th in the league. And by the way, when you're 8 games in,
you are who you are.
You are who you are. And they're 29th in the league in defense. And I think, and that has puzzled me that, again, the offense has been far from perfect. But if you're 14th in the league in offense, you shouldn't be 2-6.
Yeah, if this defense was 14th in the league
or
in
18th
in most categories, they would still be very much in the wild.
Yeah, and
race.
so I think the defense is what surprised. So we got a lot to talk. We'll talk a lot of Jaguars football coming up in a bit. A tough loss, a very bizarre game on so many fronts. We'll talk about the Jaguars coming up. Later on, Bucky Brooks will do the same. We'll get to some other stuff. Hays will cover them in headlines in the second hour. But right now, let's start with the Jags and the Packers. Jags are 2-6. We'll talk about it after this.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harold & Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Frank Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. But when it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Sometimes winning and losing comes down to one play. There's only one performance painting, high-performance play of the game on 1010XL.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Let's start the debate. Why would someone buy a new car from you? We have an exclusive 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty on every new vehicle. We offer a competitive wow price plus free oil changes. How much will someone get for their trade? We offer more than $4,000 over KBV value. Well, we never lose a trade over price. Okay, when is the best time to buy a car? Right now. Ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't matter which side you pick. At Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet, you get it all. Let us show you why we're the winning vote.
This is Hays Carlyon for Harold & Harold. I was at lunch with my good friend Holt, and he was telling me that sometimes a lawyer can get more from a case than their own client. I was surprised to hear this, but Holt said that doesn't happen with Harold & Harold. They'll never take a fee that is greater than their own client. When they say they treat their clients as a person and not a file, they mean it. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, call Harold & Harold at 904-251-1111. That's 904-251-1111.
Are you ready to upgrade your home? Experience the winning combination of style and performance with Renewal by Andersen, energy-efficient, custom-built replacement windows and doors. Buy 4 windows or patio doors and get the 5th free. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. This offer expires October 31st and restrictions apply. Renewal by Andersen, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com for details.
License number CGC 1527613.
Welcome to ABS Advanced Business Solutions, your local authorized technology partner and home to Xerox copiers.
Advanced Business Solutions.
If you're looking for the best in indoor air quality, I've got the experts to call. Florida Home AC, the official AC provider of the Jaguars, specializing in the best air quality for your home or work with the Remy Halo. Instead of waiting for pollutants to travel through the ductwork to be neutralized, the Halo cell releases friendly oxidizers every time your fan blows air, helping those in your home that suffer from allergies and other respiratory issues. Call 877-4300 for Florida Home AC and start enjoying cool comfort and clean air.
I spray and scrub, but the soap scum in my bathtub is still there.
I spray and scrub, but the burnt sauce on my stovetop sticks around.
Sprays can leave grime behind, but Mr. Clean Ultra Foamy Magic Eraser combines the scrubbing power of an eraser with the cleaning power of Dawn to melt away tough messes on contact.
Just wet, squeeze, and erase.
Stop spraying, start erasing, and clean with more magic than ever with Ultra Foamy Magic Eraser.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean. When the Dogs and Gators cross the bridge, the world's largest cocktail party becomes a fight on the First Coast.
The party of the year!
Florida-Georgia Week is celebrated by Kingfish Pest Control and Ackerman Urology and Cancer Center on 1010XL.
Hi, everybody. Mike Dempsey here, reminding you that November is Veterans Month, a time to celebrate and honor the heroes who've served our country. This November, Awaken 180 Weight Loss is showing their appreciation for active duty veterans and spouses by offering 15% off your entire Awaken 180 program, free support for life included. It's a thank you for the sacrifices you've made, protecting our freedoms and making this country what it is. This is special. Awaken 180 has never offered a discount, ever. If this incentive can help turn your focus on you, your health, your goals, and your happiness, I say go for it. Do what I did and choose the solution for weight loss. So if you're active duty, a veteran, or a spouse of one, this month is about you. Celebrate Veterans Month with 15% off your Awaken 180 program, and as with all clients, receive free support for life after reaching your goals. Do what I did, what Hacker did, and what Matt Hays did, and over 23,000 others have done. Take control at awaken180weightloss.com.
Hey, sports fans, this is Hays Carlyon from MyBookie, hoping everyone had a profitable betting weekend on MyBookie. And guess what? The New York Giants travel to face the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers are a 6-point favorite at home with a 36.5-point over-under on the game. Are the Steelers for real? They started Russell Wilson. It's helped them. They put up 37 points. I think when you look at the Giants, they're struggling. Volatile quarterback, hurt offensive line. This one says take the Steelers giving the points and the over, but who are you taking? MyBookie has the best sign-up bonus in the industry for bettors. Our listeners can just sign up and use promo code 1010XL to claim a bonus that doubles your money on your very first deposit up to $1,000. That's promo code 1010XL to claim your double deposit bonus for Monday Night Football. Bet anywhere, anytime, and make your season a winning season with MyBookie. And don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Best Bet Monday on The Frangie Show with fantastic locations in Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now in St. Augustine. It's Best Bet.
We appreciate our friends from the Best Bet. Those great locations, man. That new one in St. Augustine is gorgeous. And Jacksonville's one of the best card rooms you'll ever see there on Monument Road, Orange Park as well. So, look, if you want to have fun during football season, and this is a good time to be in a good mood and have fun. They're clean. They're wholesome. You'll love it. If you haven't been to the Best Bet, and most of you have, check it out. You'll be glad you did. The Best Bet with 3 great locations here on the First Coast. Got a little hot tea here, Carlyon. The hot tea's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
I need to put just a bunch of bourbon in there.
That's what I would do. I figured that was a given. No.
Then it'd be a hell of a show, bro. Just telling you, that'd be a heck of a show. All right, let's talk Jaguars football. You kind of covered it. And again, listen, you know me. I don't get on coaches. I just don't. It's just not my style. And I'm the play-by-play voice of the team, so I'm certainly not going to get on Jaguar coaches, even if I think that. And I don't know what they got wrong with the defense, Hays. Is Ryan Nielsen just doing a bad job play calling? Does the system not fit what they're doing? Is it personnel? Obviously, they took some chances in the secondary with young players, and then they lost Tyson Campbell for a while, and they haven't had Dewey at all, who would have mattered. So part of it's that. But I will tell you, I was surprised at a tight box at the end of the game. That's the one thing. That's the one formation that surprised me a little bit, is that there was a 10-man box. Now, look, you didn't want them to – they ran it down your throat on the other drive, and I get that. And if you have a light box, it was a minute 38 left, not 38. So if you have too light of a box, does Josh Jacobs rip off 11, 14, 12, 9, and all of a sudden McManus is in position for a 48-yard field goal? I thought about that. But I just thought that the really tight box and all the man coverage, and then someone's got to run with someone – was an unusual choice for me. I thought that's the one that surprised of all the things that have happened, and I hated it for them because I thought they had seized the momentum. I thought that drive with no receivers of note out there, and the way Trevor to your column to the point you made to your column, I thought was magnificent. Regardless of what had gone wrong earlier, I thought you could feel the juice, and the catch by Ingram. That was an NBA rebound, man. There were 3 guys around him, but he wasn't going to be denied, and that's what I said on the broadcast. And I thought, my goodness, this is fantastic. Here we are. After all that's gone wrong, they're going to win the game. I thought they're going to – we even talked about, do you go for 2? No, you don't go for 2 because with Love out, you got the better team. You got the better team and you got the momentum. You kick the extra point. You stop him. If he gets to overtime, he gets to overtime. Again, if the other guy's got the better team, you go for 2. Florida should have gone for 2 at Tennessee. We had that conversation. But when you don't have the better team – when you do have the better team, so I thought the end game, that was probably the most demoralizing play for me of the season. For me, as a guy calling the game or just a fan watching the game, the biggest gut punch I took was the 51-yard pass. Of all the plays this season, that's the one that stuck with me. And there are a lot of bad plays in that game, and frankly, when you're 2-6, there have been a lot of bad plays in your season. But that's the one that got me the most.
Yeah, it was devastating. It was heartbreaking, as Doug Peterson described, and I think everybody, that wasn't wearing, the Packers colors felt that way. I mean, it speaks to there's something missing in this team's DNA, and it's been there since last year. And it's interesting because I don't remember seasons bleeding over to others as much as they have around here locally. We've talked about Florida State and how the disappointment of not getting in the playoff has obviously hung around to this inexplicable 1-7 start for them. And it feels that there's a lot of parallels with the Jaguars, that the collapse at the end of last year, they just haven't been able to ever get beyond it. And they just can't make a play when they have to. I mean, they sort of backed into the Colts win, and the Patriots are terrible. Yes, they beat the Jets yesterday, but that was about as fluky a win as you'll see in the NFL if you look at the statistical data behind it. So, I mean, it's just really unfortunate because I think they have talent. I do think that it's not at all a toxic work environment. I think the players have a good harmony with one another, but they just cannot close the deal. And when your franchise quarterback, forget what's happened earlier in the game. The NFL, everybody's going to make mistakes. It's what you do late in a game to go win a game. That's what makes you great as a quarterback, as really any player. And for Trevor Lawrence to engineer that drive down Kirk, Thomas, and Davis, and when they're exclusively in two tight end personnel the entire time because they have no other option. You got Tim Jones on the field running routes. I mean, I thought it was unbelievable by Trevor Lawrence to go and tie the game up there. And yeah, you just felt like that momentum would carry over to the defense and they would get the 3 and out. The ball would get punted back and they would have enough time to go down and get in Cam Little's range
even if
and
they
steal the game.
Even if Green Bay does a good job at bleeding and you get to overtime, I felt good.
Yeah, sure.
I thought Green Bay would bleed a little bit, which is maybe why they played the 10-man box to prevent that. And Green Bay surprised everybody by slipping a guy out and throwing it over the top. But I felt like even if I wasn't convinced it was going to be stop them and kick the field goal to win, but I did feel good about how overtime would have gone. I just liked where they were. That's why I'm telling you, when I saw him slip out, and I'm like, and again, I got to call it, but I'm thinking this isn't really happening. After all all the ups and downs of this ball game, you overcame all of it. And all of a sudden you're down. You're tied, and you've got the momentum. Look, we knew there were going to be a lot of Packer fans there. They travel well. They live everywhere, just very like the Steelers, 49ers, Cowboys, so many others. But I thought the Jags fans did their part, man. I thought Jacksonville fans were good yesterday. Didn't you think that?
Oh, yeah. The ones that were there were incredibly energetic.
I thought it was an energetic crowd. And so of all the plays, the one that kind of stung me was that one. And listen, we're not exonerating Trevor of some very bad mistakes. The fumble can't happen. You can't switch. You've got to know when you're inside the 5, you've got to have the instincts and the presence of mind not to try and switch hands and put it in your left hand. You can't do that. And he knows that. And he's not been turnover prone this year, by the way. But even the pass, I couldn't figure out they had 2 guys right together.
That may not have been his fault. It would be interesting to maybe we'll get some clarification on that as the week goes on. But it looked like something was amiss for 2 guys to be in the same spot.
Yeah, and
it looked like a horrible interception. But I don't know if maybe.
Yeah, it was because Kirk was running the crosser, and I thought Brian was running a go, but he didn't throw it like a go. He threw it because it would have been way behind him if it was just a go route.
I thought he was throwing it to Christian. Yeah. And then I couldn't figure out why Brian was in the area, so I didn't know if maybe he got – anyway, I haven't gone back and looked to see if he got some sort of –
the bottom line is that Trevor played very well after that. I agree with you. And the drive at the end was spectacular. But they got to figure out 3rd and short. They haven't figured that out, whether it's offensive line, play calling, whatever. They still haven't figured that out. And we said early in the year, that's the one thing they've got to solve. is they've got to solve third and short, and they still haven't been able to do it. And to your larger point about the DNA, I've seen this. We've all seen it. We all of us, if you're listening to this show now, you've watched a lot of sports in your life like we all have. We've all seen the teams, Hays, that for whatever reason, the more you don't make the play at the end of the game, the harder it is to make the play at the end of the game. If you're the guy that missed the 1-and-1 free throw with 5 seconds left, it's harder to make it next game. And it's really harder to make it 3 games in because you kind of expect the worst to happen. We've seen it in college football and college basketball and NFL and NBA and baseball. The teams that kind of have not had the good things happen at the end of the game tend to continue to not have the good things because they don't know what it feels like. We've said it a 1,000 times. They need to see the ball go through the hoop. And I think that's where they are. There's no real – that's not an excuse, by the way. That's just, to your point, and I agree with you, that's just an assessment of somehow, some way, they're not able to make things go right at the end of the game. And see, yesterday, if they get a stop and win the game, then that would be the game where they did that. I know they kicked the field goal to beat Indianapolis, but that wasn't heroically winning at the end of the game. That was avoiding disaster of a game you should have won much easier, right? So that's different. It's great that he made the field goal and they won the game, but it should have never come down to that. Yesterday, you fought to make it come down to that.
Right.
You fought your way back in it.
It would have been a total steal.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're 3-5.
You've salvaged your year. 3
of the last 4, 2 in a row. And and we talked about that before the game. The energy that would have come out of that. So the fact that it didn't happen, and as I'm watching it, it was just a gut wrenching 51 yards after you tie the game. That's the play I can't get beyond. That's the play. Again, I could go through a bunch of bad plays, but that's the one I couldn't shake. The 80-yard drive was one thing, but okay. Josh Jacobs is a good running back. You've played good defense until then. You caught up. You had a letdown. Okay.
And Malik Willis has played recently.
Yeah,
so he started a couple of games. So they weren't going to be like, as an offense, they weren't going to be like, well, what do we do now?
Yeah. So, 51-yard. That was a tough one. Let's take a break. More Jaguar talk coming up at the top of the hour with our friend Bucky Brooks. Between now and then, we'll talk a little college football, Miami FSU. Some interesting games in the world of college football as well. An interesting weekend. We'll talk about that as we continue. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Frank Frangie here. It's truck season at Nimnick Chevrolet. Chevy trucks have what you need to get things done, like a brand new Silverado 1500. This month, you can save up to $10,000 off a new Silverado for well-qualified buyers. Get rates as low as 0% financing and no payments for 90 days on all 2024 Silverado 1500 pickup. Now, with the largest inventory on the ground, outstanding cash incentives, and the best price guarantee, your perfect truck is waiting for you. So head to Nimnick today. Nimnick Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
This is Josh Woolsey with Woolsey Morecambe. Woolsey Morecambe is your MVP in the legal game. Our team of skilled attorneys tackle personal injury cases with compassion and expertise. With fumbles like a car or truck accident, we're here to seek the compensation you deserve. Right here in Jacksonville, we've successfully won over $100 million and earned a championship-worthy record. When it's game time, you want a team that plays to win. Contact Woolsey Morecambe at 1-800-WOOLSEY. Offices, Jacksonville.
Post Game Monday on 1010XL is brought to you by Dandy Foods, makers of quality fresh sandwiches and home of the good stuff.
Hey, Hickett here with a message from Zero Res. Can you believe they've been cleaning carpets in Jacksonville now for 20 years? Dave Benyon and his family and staff are so grateful of things and appreciate you, their great customers. In fact, October's birthday month for Zero Res. So what are we doing for customers? Just say happy birthday, Zero Res, and we'll give you $50 off. That's $50 off carpet, tile, and grout, upholstery, or area rugs. Zero Res, man. Spell it forwards or backwards. Zero Res. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
Rotator cuff injuries are common among athletes and those who have physically demanding careers. Don't let this injury keep you away from the sport you love. Dr. George Barry here, and the first thing you need to do with a serious shoulder injury is to diagnose where the damage is and how significant it is. Rotator cuff tears are either acute tears sustained during an injury or accident, or degenerative tears. If you're interested in learning more about rotator cuff repair and how our expert team of orthopedic surgeons can help you, call Barry Orthopedics today or visit barryorthopedics.com.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. Call 904-722-1111.
Instant Keys saves the day if you've lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call Instant Keys, 722-1111.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, cars, trucks, diesel, you name it, they do it. Whether it's routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul. Call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857 or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
He used to cover the Jags. Now he's a CBS Sports senior NFL writer.
Well, I believe you got everybody's attention.
He's Pete Prisco. Friday afternoons on The Frangie Show. Brought to you by Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles on 1010XL. Now, the Hurricane Report. Brought to you by Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
The state champion Miami Hurricanes took down Florida State 36-14 on Saturday night, thanks in large part to a great performance on defense by the Hurricanes. The Canes held Florida State to under 250 total yards. Miami is now 8-0 on the season, Florida State dropping to 1-7. Duke is next for the Canes. The Hurricane Report brought to you by Performance Painting.
They're out to test our reputation as the best plumber in Jacks, so we gotta play like the experts we are. Now, who are we?
Roland Reach Plumbing!
Now that's what a winner sounds like.
Customers always win with Roland Reach Plumbing at plumberinjacks.com.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwood Jewelers. Clayton, why is it that when you look at how long a store has been in business, that it always seems to be the stores like Underwood's that sell fine quality that have been around the longest?
Frank, that's a question that really doesn't get asked a lot, but it should be. There are a number of reasons, but probably the biggest is because of the endorsements our longtime customers and their pieces of jewelry have given us through the years. You see, when you sell really fine quality jewelry, that piece will last longer and always stay beautiful. It might stay in the same family for generations, and through those years of wear, a lot of compliments will be made and a lot of people will be told where the piece of jewelry came from. You see, at a store like Underwood's, it's our stated goal to be the best jeweler in the South, not the biggest, so everything we do and carry has to help move us toward that goal. And ultimately, it's the satisfied customers wearing fine quality jewelry that have kept Underwood's in Jacksonville since 1928.
Underwood's in San Marco, Avondale, and the shops of Ponte Vedra.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation. Light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to carlsondentalgroup.com. That's carlsondentalgroup.com for all of your dental needs.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Despite the loss, the Jaguars' offense looked competent moving the ball downfield. Trevor Lawrence made sure to feed his tight ends for National Tight End Day, as Brenton Strange caught 5 balls for 59 yards, and Evan Ingram had 4 for 36 yards and a beautiful leaping touchdown. Here's Ingram on the touchdown connection.
Trevor has a really good sense of guys winning at the line of scrimmage, and a lot of plays in the past that he's thrown to me. He's thrown to me off of great releases, and I threw a great release on the guy, and so I knew Trevor would see it. So I knew the ball was going to be up there for sure. I just went up and got it. Definitely, everybody was talking about it was up there floating. I just went up and got it.
I'm Max Fink here with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Best Bet Monday on The Frangie Show with fantastic locations in Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now in St. Augustine. It's Best Bet.
Don't forget now the World Poker Tour is back at Best Bet Jacksonville. That's October 31st through November 19th. You can check the calendar for satellites into that championship event, but the World Poker Tour is a big, big deal. By the way, the World Poker Tour event number 1 is a $400 no-limit hold'em with a $100,000 guarantee. That's what kicks it off this week at the Best Bet. So you want some fun, man, head to the Best Bet. That's all at Best Bet Jacksonville on Monument Road. Frangie and Carlyon LaSelva with you. Hey, did you just, in your Miami update, say the state champion Miami Hurricanes?
I did, and I proudly did.
That was fantastic. Did you hear that? Hey, didn't get by you, did it?
Hey, to the victor goes the spoils.
I love it.
First time since 2004. Obviously we don't get a chance very often.
Yeah, it was a weird game, man. It was JJ. I couldn't.
They played too high safety basically the entire game on defense.
They did.
And we were like, all right, we're just going to run it between the tackle and the guard, and we did. And we only had 7 possessions of offense, scored on 6 of them, and Florida State, when we put the backups in on the very last drive of the game, scored a touchdown. So it was one of the most boring games I've ever watched,
really
honestly.
But you called
But
it.
I was loving it.
I mean, you called the game. I mean,
Yeah.
if you didn't listen to our program last week, I had them hanging 50 plus. Hayes had them in the 40s.
I said 38-17. I think it was like 35-14.
Right, but your premise was not only a score. Your premise was dead on. Your premise was that FSU's defense will keep it more competitive than people expect. But Miami will win easily, 30-something to whatever. So, you were dead on. So I'm watching the game, and it was boring. But as I watched the game more and more, and I hate this, no offense to Miami, because Miami's a great story. They're undefeated, and they're going to play for a national title at some point. I believe that. But how ignominious the Florida State program has become is hard. It's hard to shake for me. I for the life of me. And Hayes, you joke. Well, that means Jordan Travis is the greatest player in the history of the sport, and I get it, because without him, yet you wouldn't listen when you lose Verse and Fisk and Keon Coleman and Johnny Wilson and Benson and Trey Benson, the running back, and of course Jordan Travis and the linebackers. I get it. They lost. Jarian Jones wasn't even one of the prominent guys. Hayes, we were at the combine. There were 10 maybe FSU players, I want to say?
Yeah, I think even maybe.
Or 10 to 12?
Yeah, I think a dozen.
10 to 12 FSU players. So you knew it was going to be hard. But the drop-off usually isn't that at these good schools. The drop-off when your good players leave isn't 13 wins to 1 or 2. It's 13 wins to 10 or 11 if you're Alabama. It's if you're a team that doesn't usually have the 13-win season. If you're Tulane or whoever just has the magical season,
8
SMU,
at the worst.
It's 8 or 9. It's from 13 to 8 or 9. It's not that. This is truly one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen. I saw some things from Kromenhoek I liked. I think he's the better of the two. Brock Glenn's very athletic, but I think Kromenhoek is the better passer, and I think he's their future. But I'm just telling you, Hayes, it was one of the strangest. Watching that collapse is one of the strangest things I've seen in my life watching college football. To go from what they were to what they are is bizarre. What they were for 2 years ago. They won 10 games 2 years ago. So they won 23 games in a 2-year period. And then for that to become this is totally bizarre.
I've never seen anything like this. Again, they've only scored 119 points this season in 8 games. That is at least 100 points less than 8 other schools in the ACC.
And that is bizarre.
100 fewer points. I think that's over 10 points a game difference. I mean, at this point, so Florida State averages less than 11 points a game than half the league that they're in. That's a joke of a league to begin with. So, I mean, in looking at it, it's a disaster. I mean, they are next to last in a league that's basically a 2-team league. Miami is great, and Clemson's very good, maybe great. Everybody else, save me Pitt and SMU.
They should have lost to Duke on Saturday.
Yeah,
SMU.
Virginia Tech and Louisville and Georgia Tech. I mean, no one cares. The ACC has 2 good teams in it. And the fact that Florida State is 1-6 in ACC play, I mean, I went 20 years of my life without FSU losing 6 conference games, let alone being 1-6 in an individual season. And oh, by the way, they're an underdog Saturday to a North Carolina team that allowed James Madison to score 70 a month ago. They're the worst of all the big 3.
Yeah,
it's the single worst team I've ever seen any of the big 3 have in my lifetime.
Yeah, and I can tell you, I was at Florida when they were 0-10-1. And if you go back and look at the scores, Bama beat them 40-0 because Bama won the national title. But they were pretty good on defense. They were actually a reasonably good defensive team. They were just a complete disaster on offense. And they were in the SEC, which was a pretty good SEC even back then. I mean, Georgia was still good back then. I mean, Auburn was very good back then. And so, so the question now becomes, how do you fix it? I mean, if you're Florida State, if you're Mike Norvell, you're not doing very well in recruiting. Neither is Florida, by the way.
2 decommitments in the last 2 days, by the way. Wide receiver and a tight end.
Which is to be expected when you're but
I'm just saying it's not helping.
No, I'm with you. But I mean,
I don't know why that's happening. They beat Cal.
Yeah. So as I look back, or look forward, I should say, what do you do? I mean, do you go? You're criticized, but everyone says the reason this is happening is because you rated the portal too much. Yet if you don't rate it again, he
has no choice.
What are they going to?
High school kids aren't listening to him.
So you got to
think a high school kid's going to commit to a team that's 1-7?
So you got to go to the portal, but you're not going to get great portal kids, even though you put a lot of. The FSU, by the way, is supposed to be one of the big spenders in NIL. They're top 5, from what I've read, top 5, top 6 spender in NIL. So you go to the portal, but I mean, realistically, what are you finishing this year? They're going to win a couple games? They'll beat Charleston.
They'll finish 3-9.
Is it Charleston Southern?
They could win this weekend.
They could beat North Carolina.
Yeah. So they win at most 4 games.
Yeah, I would say at most 4.
Yeah, 4-8 your best case. And by the way, I would not be shocked if they beat Florida.
Well, if Lagway gets hurt between now and that game, they will beat Florida.
That's the
Florida
only way, though.
Yeah.
I would be shocked if a Lagway Florida team lost.
I would,
man.
So if Florida has Lagway in that game, Florida will win that game.
Here's what, and to Florida by the way, back to wrap the conversation on FSU. What does he got to get back to next year to say he's not getting fired this year? The buyouts are gigantic.
Yeah,
buyouts pretty big next year.
Yeah,
but does he have to? What if he wins 4 next year?
Then I think he'd get 26.
Yeah.
And then that'd be it.
Back to Florida for a second. They play Florida. I was talking about Florida with some buddies today and over the last couple of days. The bad about Florida is I keep looking at these teams they're beating are worse than I thought. Kentucky obviously is no good. Mississippi State is terrible.
They're the worst team in the SEC.
Yeah, Samford is a bad FCS team, not just an FCS team. They're a bad FCS team. And UCF just fired the defensive coordinator and fired the offensive coordinator. They're a disaster.
Yeah, they can't beat
So Samford, UCF, and Mississippi State and Kentucky, the 4 teams you've beaten are disasters, which says, okay, then you're really not that good. But in fairness, the 3 teams that have beaten them are really good. They're all 3. Is A&M in the top 10 yet? They ought to be.
They are.
Okay.
And everybody was like, hey, you lost to the backup A&M quarterback. Well, it looks
he's the better guy.
Yeah,
exactly.
He was very great.
So it's 3 top 10. So you've lost to 3 top 10 teams, which means, hey, you might be pretty good. You've beaten 4 teams that turned out to be miserable, so maybe you're not very good. So I still think, and now you're about to play 4 really good teams. So I mean, it's just bizarre. How do you assess them given all of that?
Well, the good news is you don't have to yet. I mean, again, we talked about it last week. We've only read about 55% of the Florida season. That's how far we are into the book. They've played 7. We have 5 left, and
that's right.
And perhaps a bowl game. But if he gets to a bowl game, I think he's won the day. I don't think he wins 6 games and gets fired.
Yeah.
So, barring something that it just hasn't, like some scandal that we're unaware of.
Yeah, the narrative now is get to 6 and he stays. And I think that narrative's everywhere.
Yeah. So, I mean, in looking at it, I think it's why some Gator fans I know are incredibly optimistic about the final 5 games and realistically think they could go 3-2. And other Florida fans that I talk to think they're going to lose out, and it's a disaster, and it's going to be what happened last year where they just, basically couldn't win a game in the second half of the season, and he's going to get fired. So, and I can't dismiss either one of those.
Right.
It's easier for me to dismiss them going 3-2 because that would require they have no chance, I think, on Saturday.
Right.
So now you have to go 3-1 against at Texas,
Correct.
home against Ole Miss and LSU. I guess the thinking there is they would defend the swamp against Ole Miss and LSU, but they weren't able to defend it against Miami and Texas A&M.
Right.
So I think best case scenario, and probably where it comes in, is they're going to win 1, maybe 2 more games, and then it's if he wins 1, he could be out.
Yeah.
And at 5-7, probably should be out. And if he somehow goes 2-3 and gets to 6 wins, and DJ Lagway looks like he's one of the best players in the country in 2025, and you're going to a bowl game, you're going to have those practices, then I think they're going to remain status quo with him.
A terribly interesting part of that whole storyline is Lagway, because if you're a Florida fan, you see those great deep balls, in that amazing accuracy on deep balls, in the poise, and the fact that he's just a freshman. Wait till he learns how to play. Wait till he learns how to read defenses. Wait till they turn him loose as a runner a little bit, because that's what he was great at in college, and you never even seen him do it yet. So wait till all that happens. That's so exciting, and I'm probably in that camp because that's the team I root for. The other side of it is we really haven't seen him yet. We haven't seen him play very much against a good team. Other than a series here or there, he barely played against Miami. Didn't play at all against Miami, right?
I think he played because Mertz got knocked out.
He played basically the fourth quarter, but the game was over.
But he's barely played. He's about, and now teams have some tape on him. Here's the tape. Don't let anybody get beat deep. Don't let him throw the deep ball. Confuse him, make him throw underneath, mix some coverages. Who knows how that's going to go? So we may be looking up in 2 weeks and go, man, Lagway isn't so good once you start playing Georgia and Texas.
But the thing is, there's a lot of quarterbacks, though. That is the degree of difficulty is so high that it's almost like asking an amateur high diver, okay, this is your first competitive meet. Here are the 3 toughest dives known to man, and we need you to pull these dives off.
And that's part of the storyline. He may have really bad stats, but you may say, hey, because those defenses are so good, that's why. No, I'm with you. But my point is, to your point all along, there's so much of the book left. There's so much about Lagway we have to learn, and that's and the most important thing is he's got to stay healthy because there's nobody else there. But,
I have sort of gravitated towards unless they lose out and it's just a disaster, they should bring Napier back because you've got to see what DJ Lagway is in 2025 for you.
To that end, funny you said that. I am not as automatically convinced they'll beat this bad FSU team because I would like to think by then if one of these young quarterbacks are playing, FSU will be better than they are now.
I do think Kromenhoek's pretty good.
Yeah, I do too. So I think they'll be better by then. It's a home game. It's a last chance to salvage anything in your season. I don't think that one's a layup for Florida until we learn more about Florida and Lagway. But having said that, assuming he wins that game, no matter what else happens, I think there's a pretty good chance Billy Napier's back. That would be 5-7. The narrative was 7 wins, he's back. Anything else, he's probably out. That narrative has changed now to 7 or 6, he's back. And anything else, he's probably out. And now it might be changing to because of Lagway and the points you're making, and Baugh, and some of the other young players.
And you don't have a university president.
Yeah, maybe
so
5
it's
wins.
It's an awkward time to conduct a football search.
Lose competitively the next 4, beat FSU. People don't want to hear it, but would not surprise me if he's back for all the reasons we've talked about. Let's take a break. When we come back to Jaguar football. Bucky Brooks checks in. The Buck stops here. That's after this. Stay with us.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Let's go. Game day gets here a little quicker with Pregame Friday. Here we go. Who's in? Who's out? Who's on upset watch?
Exactly.
We'll get you ready for the games. Brought to you by MyBookie and Dream Finders Homes on 1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
This is Hays Carlyon from my friend Holt at Harold & Harold. There doesn't seem to be enough time in the day to get everything done. Then you get injured in an accident and you don't know what you're going to do. Let Harold & Harold make it easy for you. Easy on becoming a client. You can just text or email if you want. Easy on finding a doctor and getting through the process. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, call Harold & Harold and make it easy on yourself. Call them at 904-251-1111. That's 251-1111.
Get this thing unwrapped here.
Praz, what in the world are you doing working on your Duval?
That's right, man. I really identify with Duval.
You live in St. John's County, knucklehead.
I mean the Duval sub, the Dailies Dash Duval. Turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheeses. Lettuce, tomato, crispy and fresh, like me. I'm sure there's a Dailies Dash sub that sums you up.
The boss.
Because, of course.
Oven roasted beef, Munster cheese, roasted mushrooms, caramelized onions. It's the boss of all subs. Only available for me.
That's just not true.
What do you mean? I walked in the other day, screamed, "You know it," and said, "A boss for a boss."
Well, no matter who you are, there is a Dailies Dash sandwich or sub for you.
Go find yours. They may even make you a boss.
I'm sure they will, because it is Dailies Dash.
Where more is better.
And you got that right.
When a plumbing or septic emergency happens, you want to have your ducks in a row with a company you can trust. Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services is the #1 company on the First Coast. Check out our reviews online. DuckDuckRooter.com.
This is Hays Carlyon for First Florida Credit Union. I bank with First Florida Credit Union because I trust them. I can always count on them when it comes to the vast services they provide. First Florida Credit Union was voted Best Bank in the 2024 Best of Bold City Community Choice Awards, and it's easy to see why. I go to the branch off 210 in St. Johns County and the new Durbin location, but they have 10 branches in the Jacksonville area. You need to be banking with First Florida Credit Union. They're enriching people every day. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity Lender.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Are you a member of the Ran Out of Room Club? Maybe it's a boat, RV, or cars. Maybe it's office space. A luxury storage unit at the Shed is your solution. Opening soon in Atlanta Beach. AC and plumbing available and spots filling fast. Don't join the Ran Out of Time Club. Go to theshedjacks.com.
Weekends were made for sports, and I'll tell you my take on this weekend's best options. Pick it here. Watch for Weekend with Dan on YouTube and Facebook. Weekend with Dan is brought to you by Stone Core. We do outdoors better.
This is Mark Nato. My son Justin injured his hand playing baseball for JU. Southeast orthopedic specialist performed surgery just a few days later, and within 5 weeks, he was cleared to play in the ASUN baseball tournament. Our family has trusted Southeast orthopedic specialists for years. For any orthopedic injury, let Southeast orthopedic specialists take care of you too.
Relieve pain and get back to life. SOS. Southeast orthopedic specialists.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality product and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
Hey sports fans, this is Hays Carlyon from MyBookie, hoping everyone had a profitable betting weekend on MyBookie. And guess what? The New York Giants travel to face the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers are a 6-point favorite at home with a 36.5-point over-under on the game. Are the Steelers for real? They started Russell Wilson. It's helped them. They put up 37 points. I think when you look at the Giants, they're struggling. Volatile quarterback, hurt offensive line. This one says take the Steelers, giving the points and the over. But who are you taking? MyBookie has the best sign-up bonus in the industry for bettors. Our listeners can just sign up and use promo code 1010XL to claim a bonus that doubles your money on your very first deposit up to $1,000. That's promo code 1010XL to claim your double deposit bonus for Monday Night Football. Bet anywhere, anytime, and make your season a winning season with MyBookie. And don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
I'm Max Fink here with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. The Bulls Bulldogs won their 8th straight on Friday night as they shut out Wolfson 35-0 on the road, getting their 3rd shutout win of the season. Both sides of the ball continue to impress for the Bulldogs. They carried the ball 28 times for 268 yards, getting in the end zone 3 times. The Bulldog defense tallied 9 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, and a fumble recovery as they improved to 3-0 in district and 8-1 overall. The Florida Gators and Georgia Bulldogs both have their 2nd and final bye week of the season as they get ready for a massive rivalry game this Saturday right here in Jacksonville at Everbank Stadium at 3:30. The Gators head into the week as 16.5-point underdogs. 1010XL brings you coverage of that game right here on 92.5 FM. It's 73 degrees at 5:02. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Doors, please. Time now for the Sky Life Elite Take Flight Moment of the Week. Sky Life Elite, North Florida's premier private air charter.
Comes down to one last play, and it's going to be getting longer by the second. You're all the way back at the 30-yard line. Now you can step into it. Here comes the Hail Mary with the game on the line, and the ball is caught! Caught! It's a miracle! It's Noah Brown! Oh my goodness! This town is going crazy! It's a madhouse in Landover, Maryland! He did it!
Jaden Daniels, welcome to Superstardom. What a play from the rookie. Just an unbelievable throw. And yes, the Bears completely botched how they handled it. Noah Brown, the only guy left in the end zone to collect the ricochet. What a win for Washington. The Commanders are the 2 seed right now in the NFC. And Jaden Daniels playing through the rib injury is a landslide choice right now for Rookie of the Year and has definitely put himself in MVP discussion. Perfect take flight moment of the week. That's brought to you by our good friends at Sky Life Elite. Again, if you're tired of canceled flights, unruly passengers, layovers, consider using private charter flights for your next adventure. Call our friends at Sky Life Elite at 490-9332. You can find more information at flyskylife.com. North Florida's premier private air charter.
Well done, and what a play it was. And go see our friends at Sky Life, by the way, no matter where you want to go. They will take you there, and it's a better experience. I promise you. Better experience than Bucky Brooks is going through right now, going through security.
Yeah.
And so we'll check in with Bucky. He said call him back in just a minute while we wait.
Yeah, we got a Nashville trip, Jags Titans in early December.
That's
so
the one. Call
if you're
Sky
looking
Life
for
Elite.
get some buddies together, man, you'd have a lot of fun.
I want to tell you this. In the play-by-play community, the NFL play-by-play community, all 32 of us have kind of gotten to know each other a little. We have a kind of a group text that's important to us. You know, that we've all become friends on different levels. I'm very close to the 3 in the division, as you know, Mark Vandermeer and Matt Taylor and Mike Keith, of course. But we've also all got to know, we have this 32-person group text, and we all got hit kind of hard when Jim Donovan, the longtime Cleveland Browns play-by-play guy, died of cancer at the age of 68. He retired before the season. Andrew Siciliano, who you see on NFL Network, and a longtime Browns fan, replaced him. Gratefully respectful of Jim, because Jim, the cancer, which he's fought for, 20 years, finally got the best of him. He retired before the season, knew he couldn't handle another season. Andrew got the job and does a wonderful job. But we were surprised to lose Jim Donovan, an NFL play-by-player, 40 years as a sports anchor in Cleveland, and not that many, but many years as the Browns play-by-play voice. And again, it's I will pay tribute to him, and I'll do it again on our game broadcast. A lot of the play-by-play guys around the league are doing it, and it's it's sad when we lose one of the family. And our NFL play-by-play group has become a little family, and so tip of the cap to Jim Donovan for all those great years. And going around our text chain today was the fact that somehow the Browns, with Jim watching over, the angel that he is, beat the Baltimore Ravens, and it was just a magical time. Kevin Stefanski, for people that don't know, became very close to Jim. He and the GM, I'm drawing a blank. He and the GM, the Cleveland GM, well-respected GM. It'll come back to me.
Yeah,
but he and the GM.
I want to say Andrew Berry.
Andrew Berry,
yeah,
thank you.
I didn't think that was right.
He and Andrew Berry together went and took the game ball to Jim's widow and daughter, and it was a cool moment. It really was.
Yeah.
So tip of the cap to the folks in Cleveland, and I'm glad they wound up. I'm glad they wound up winning the game. I mean that very sincerely. Tip of the cap, absolute tip of the cap to all of them. All right, JJ, fire it up for us here.
The buck stops here. Time now for Bucky Brooks, brought to you by Coyle & Sons, Jacksonville's commercial fence specialist. on The Frangie Show.
And look, if you need fences, nobody does a better job than my friends at Coyle & Sons. You call them at 904-356-4821. You can go to coiljacks.com to learn more. It's certainly fences, but also oversized garage doors for commercial businesses. Any kind of commercial fencing you need. They have been doing this thing for the longest time. 1927 is how long they've been doing it, and they still do a great job. Your fencing specialist, Coyle & Sons, that's the name to know here in Jacksonville. Bucky Brooks joined. Did you get through security? Did you get stopped? I wonder if you got stopped.
No, I breezed through, Frank. I was able to slide through there. But let me tell you, the airport is packed, man. When we talk about the Packers coming to town,
yeah,
they took over, man. They took over my favorite spots down at the beach. They were everywhere.
Bucky said he couldn't get in a hotel. He had to go to hotel B or C. He told me, so I get it. Oh goodness, Bucky, that was a tough one yesterday. I think of all the things, and I told Hays this earlier in the program, of all the things that hit me in the gut, the two tough turnovers, but I thought Trevor bounced back nicely, down 10 points 2 different times and overcame it both times. I think the play that was the gut wrencher for me was the 51-yard pass after the Jags had tied the game. It was a tight box, 10 in the box, somewhere thereabouts. Tell me, you were on the sideline. You had a way better look at it than we did. What happened on that play? Was it the right defense, the wrong defense? Did Andre Cisco take a bad angle? What was your view of that play?
Okay, so for context, you have to understand that play is a staple of the Shanahan-Kubiak system.
Okay.
If you can think back to the amount of times the Jaguars have played the Houston Texans, back to when Owen Daniels would kind of run down the sideline, it's a bootleg throwback. Like, they do it better than anybody else.
Okay.
And the Packers basically put that in their pocket and saved it for the perfect moment to break out. They were lined up in basically like an ace formation, except instead of having 2 tight ends, they had a tight end and a wing.
Right.
And what they did is Jaden Ring was at a wing formation, and they kind of faked the play like it was running down that way, bootleg. He collapsed down like he was blocking down on the defensive end, and then just kind of slid not behind the line of scrimmage, but right on the heels of the defensive line and came out the back door.
Right.
The thing that I still haven't figured out, Jarian Jones is on one edge, Andre Cisco's on the other edge. If they were in man coverage, they would have went with their respective guys. It appeared to me that there was almost like an in-and-out call, like, hey, if your guy comes across, we're going to switch it. But when Andre went to pick up his guy, he inadvertently got picked by Christian Watson, and then he cramped, and that left Jaden Reed wide open down the boundary for what was the game-deciding play.
I got to tell you, though, Bucky, even because of what you said about the angle getting picked by Christian Watson, I don't know if the cramp would have mattered. You know, at that point, he was 2 or 3 steps behind him.
Yeah, and here's the thing that I don't know. I don't know if it was like there are plays that are deliberate pick plays. Normally, that play is not a pick play, but it's almost like the perfect storm because Christian Watson got jammed at the line of scrimmage. And because he was jammed, he kind of was in the way fighting off the jam. I think it might have been Buster Brown that had him kind of hemmed up a little bit. And just that disruption knocked him off stride and might have put him in the path of Andre Cisco inadvertently.
Yeah.
And that led to Jaden Reed being wide open. And for a player, Malik Willis, the quarterback, who we've seen at Tennessee, who looks nothing like the player that played for the Titans, for him to deliver a dime and to play the way that he played, I think it's the bigger surprise that the backup quarterback came in and their offense took off with the backup in as opposed to when the starter was in.
Yeah, it really did. One final thing before Hays goes about that play. And look, 20/20 hindsight, I get it. It's easy to say what you should have done. But would you have been better off in some sort of a cover 2, something softer? And do you think the reason they didn't do that is because of the way the Packers would run against a light box with Josh Jacobs? I get it. There was a minute 30. It wasn't 30. They had a minute and a half left. Is that why you think they crowded the line for fear of Josh Jacobs running off 11, 9, 14, 8, those kind of runs?
No, so my thought, first thing that came to mind, so when they ran the ball on first down, in my mind, I was like, oh, okay, the Packers are going to give up and just go to they can go to overtime.
Right, me too.
Right, like they ran it because normally in a 2-minute situation, you're thinking like, hey, they're going to come out screen from the short or whatever. They ran the ball. I was like, well, is that a give-up play or are they just going to take it to overtime?
Yep.
But what they did is that then made maybe Jacksonville think like, hey, man, if we get a stop on second down, third down, another timeout, we may be able to win it in regulation. So you probably go to a run-heavy defense, which is what the call looked like.
Mm-hmm.
And it just happened to be they caught us, man. They caught us I think their execution was good. We didn't play it right. And it ended up being like a much easier way for them to win the game than I think they anticipated.
Bucky, unfortunately, injuries were a big part of this game. We unfortunately may have seen Christian Kirk's finale as a Jaguar. Obviously, he's got a big contract, but forgetting that, what's it been like for you watching Christian Kirk as a Jaguar, and obviously how much will the offense miss his presence as he's out for the year?
Now, look, I'm going to say this because I can't see why Christian Kirk would not be a Jaguar going forward. Model citizen, model teammate, Trevor Lawrence's best friend. The connection between him and 16, it extends beyond the field. I'm telling you, if they let him go, they trade him away, number 16 is going to have problems. So I'm hoping that it's just for the year. Now, what they're going to miss, a chain mover, someone who's reliable, consistent, always in the right spot. He's going to be where he needs to be at all times. It's going to hurt them because the offense doesn't move without them. And remember, Doug Peterson has been on record saying the offense runs through 13 and 17. Now, that has been amended since the emergence of Brian Thomas Jr., but he still is a major factor. And when you look at the way this team, when they scored, who did the ball go to? It went to Christian Kirk first, Brian Thomas Jr. second. I would have a hard time thinking that they're going to remove a good player, regardless of the money. You always can find a way to afford people. Christian Kirk should be a Jaguar until his days are done.
100% agree with that, by the way. I hope you're right, and I hope they follow the recommendation you just made. I think he fits on all fronts, particularly is a good person in that locker room, and I hope Christian Kirk is back next year the same way you do. Bucky, why are they struggling so much out of the gate offensively? We were on the broadcast. Their first down was with about 6 minutes left in the half. It's become a epidemic. They can't get anything going in the first quarter and a half. Well, in your mind, what are you seeing in these first quarter and a halves where the Jags can't get much going?
I'm gonna say this, man, and it's really frustrating to watch. Like, all Jags fans should be disappointed. Frank, a lot of it, as much as I would say, they need to script it better, whatever. Like, this comes down to the players and some of the fundamental things that they're not doing right. Like, when you go back and you track it, like, how many pre-snap penalties are we seeing on a third and critical situation? So then it goes from 3rd and 2 to 3rd and 7, which is a completely different play call when you have to come in there, because then you're dealing with the junk, the exotic pre-snap, the skies and all that. I'm telling you, the Jaguars are going to kick themselves because 4 of their losses have been due to self-inflicted errors, turnovers, pre-snap penalties, big plays allowed, and those things. For the offense, I think, man, like, and Doug talked about, on the air, off the air, we talk about it, like, the frustrating part is, in practice, the execution is great, the scripting is great, but in the game, for whatever reason, they're not executing at the level that they need to.
Bucky, what's your early thought on a trip to Philadelphia and the matchups of that game?
Look, it's one of those things, and it's the same thought that I had with the Green Bay Packers, right? I thought, even though it looked daunting on paper, it's doable, and it's an opportunity to create momentum. Going to Philadelphia is a little different now without Christian Kirk and potentially without Brian Thomas Jr. You got one hand tied behind your back. But what we saw is, and I firmly believe it, at the end of the game, part of Trevor's success was due to the fact that you're shorthanded and you had to simplify everything to get everybody on the same page. To me, simplicity allows Trevor Lawrence to play at his best. At some point, we have to recognize that, make the game plan simple, regardless if everyone in the stadium knows that they run these same 5 plays. He is at his best when he's comfortable, it's simplified, he can play fast. Look, I think the proof is in the pudding. Just look at the numbers at the end of the game compared to the beginning. There was something that took place when he simplified everything with a short-handed lineup that allowed him to play. I think you start that way, but you got to be able to run the football. And the Eagles have been vulnerable on defense. The Jags' chances of winning hinge on their offense controlling the game from the start, running the football, controlling it, not allowing Philadelphia to have a bunch of extra possessions, and allowing their playmakers, because their offense is good, allowing their offense to have a bunch of possessions against our defense.
Bucky, final thing here. You, and for people that don't know, Bucky understands, and I mean this sincerely, the psychology of the game. You were a player. You're now a coach. You've been a scout for a long time. You understand how players think. You said earlier in our season that the Jags have to play looser, play free and easy, don't play tight. What now? They're 2-6. how do you get to them, Bucky? How do you get them to play loose and free and easy and still efficiently? What are you saying to the players now if you're Doug?
Okay, so here's what I would say. Like, one, it starts one game at a time. You know, you got to stack some games. And I know we're not supposed to look ahead, but I'm telling you, the last 6 games of the schedule open up.
Yep.
The magic number is 10. So that means that you got to win 8 out of your last 11 to be able to go to the postseason. So what you got to do is you got to tell them, hey, guys, here's where we are. This is the reality of it. Like, we're behind the 8 ball. We've really kind of cut our margin. But it can be done. For the game, you lost by less than a touchdown. And, you know, a game against the Packers, who's a playoff team, you should have potentially won the game. We just got to play, and it's time to play. No more excuses. We just got to play. And I think you just have to keep it as simple as that and try and give them a plan that they can execute and execute well. As simple as it needs to be, give the players a chance to win by playing fast and doing those things.
Bucky Brooks talking NFL football. See if the Jags can get it going. Bucky will be on the call with us on Sunday in Philadelphia. Bucky, thanks, man. Safe travels.
All right, man. Talk to you.
All right, Bucky Brooks checking in. That is brought to you once again by Coyle & Sons, the best fencing company around, commercial fencing since 1927. Call them at 904-356-4821. You can go on coiljacks.com. You can trust them now. Any of your commercial fencing needs or overhead doors for your warehouses, something in the commercial realm, Coyle & Sons is the answer for you. Hayes has headlines on the other side. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harold & Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
We cook up a big pregame breakfast early on game day so you get a healthy helping of football and fun.
Breakfast of Champions.
On the Terminix Kickoff Show.
Presented by
Clearwater Irrigation and Gatorade 5 hours before kickoff on 1010XL.
If you need an insurance agent, I'll recommend the best guy in town, State Farm agent Craig Dewhurst. Call him at 940-9740. Really good guy, really good agent. Life insurance, homeowners, automotive, you name it, he'll handle it for you. Tell him what you need. He'll assess your whole situation. What kind of coverage do you need? How much coverage? What should your deductible be? What do you make and how does it fit your cost and your rates? You will love dealing with Craig. What a nice guy he is and how he'll help you get the right answers. The best in the business. Craig Dewhurst from State Farm, 940-9740.
Hi, Jags fans. Walker Little here for my friends at Kingfish Pest Control. Playing offensive line in the NFL, I must block and protect on every down. When it comes to keeping my home pest-free, I expect that same level of protection. So I contacted Kingfish after seeing thousands of positive online customer reviews about their service. I can confirm from personal experience, bugs don't stand a chance getting past Kingfish Pest Control. Do what I did. Reach out to Kingfish Pest Control to protect your home, a proud partner of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
When you step into a courtroom, you're stepping into a fight. Someone wins, someone loses. I'm attorney Brett Hastings, and at Hastings Injury Law, we've got the experience you want in your corner if you or a loved one suffer a personal injury or a wrongful death. We're here to fight for you. So if you get hit, hit back with Hastings Injury Law, offices Jacksonville. Find us on the web at 904hitback.com or call our 24-hour helpline, 904-HITBACK.
Wow, John, my Clearwater sprinkler system looks great.
All right, Frank, let's go ahead and program your Rainbird timer. How many minutes do you want the zones to run?
John, I think we run from the front 20, the sides 15, the back 10, the garden 5. Clearwater scores!
Well, that's a first, Frank, but you're the boss.
Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers.
And drainage to
ClearwaterJacks.com. Universal Roof and Contracting presents the Offensive Player of the Game. Universal Roof and Contracting. The difference is universal.
Trevor Lawrence was a warrior on Sunday versus Green Bay. The franchise quarterback recorded 308 yards on 21 of 32 passing and chipped in 2 passing touchdowns as well as 1 rushing touchdown. Lawrence absolutely left the stadium as the BMID, the big man in Duval. Trevor Lawrence is your Universal Roof and Contracting Offensive Player of the Game.
Rake in the savings this fall with Universal Roof and Contracting. Enjoy 15% off all roof repairs and replacements with financing options as low as $115 a month. Protecting your home has never been easier. Schedule your free roof inspection today. Call 855-ROOF-HELP. This offer expires October 31st. Protect your home and your wallet. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com.
I'm Holt Harrell with Harrell & Harrell. Choosing a law firm after an accident is an important decision. So how do you decide? With so many messages on air, I know it can all sound the same. At Harrell & Harrell, we believe what sets us apart is our commitment to you. When you've been injured in an accident, you need help from someone you know, someone you can trust. Harrell & Harrell, a name you know, a name you trust. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Offices, Jacksonville.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists congratulating this week's high school scholar athlete, Trevor Bryan, senior football player at Fletcher High. Trevor is on the A list and is also a track and field athlete. Congratulations, Trevor.
Collisions happen on every play in football. Collisions also happen every day on the road. If you need auto body repair, from a $30 job to a $30,000 job, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
Visionaries, builders, and doers. Are you ready to change the world? Miller Electric is your opportunity to shape the future. Miller Electric is leading the charge in electric vehicle technology with our state-of-the-art EV Innovation Design Center. We're working to create a sustainable future. We're also the proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, powering their performance at the brand new Miller Electric Center. Miller Electric, we provide competitive pay, unbeatable benefits. Apply today. MillerCareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Hacker here, and guys, the countdown is over. I didn't just hit the 100-pound mark. I blew past it thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss. 107 pounds gone just like that. More weight than a quarter keg of beer. Speaking of beer, here's where it gets fun. We're throwing a big celebration at Mr. Chubby's Wings in Ponte Vedra Beach. Yeah, you heard that right. A weight loss party at Mr. Chubby's. The irony's juicier than their wings, but here's the thing. I can celebrate at Mr. Chubby's and still keep the pounds off. If you didn't know, yes, wings are still on the menu while losing weight with Awaken 180 weight loss. Join me in 1010XL on November 9th for the Florida and Texas game, and you could win a spot at my table. Food is included. There'll be ticket giveaways and more for the celebration. If I can shed a whole Mr. Chubby and still throw a party at one, what's holding you back? Call Awaken 180, 844-346-1800, or hit up awaken180weightloss.com, and let's get it done.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Gather round. It's Hays' Headlines, presented by Harrell & Harrell. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Hear all about it. Here's Hays Carlyon.
All right, welcome back to the Frangie Show. Frank Frangie is here. JJ LaSelva is here. I am Hays Carlyon. Thank you to our friends at Harrell & Harrell. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, give them a call at 251-1111. Frank, we will start with the Jaguars. Lose a heartbreaker to Green Bay. Just one of those things that just it's like as soon as one problem is fixed, another problem pops up.
This will be the season. We talked about it. Bucky said it just now. This is going to be that year you look back and you are kicking yourself for not closing the deal on the near misses. This is another one. You have now lost 2 games on a field goal at the end of the game, and when you were in position to win. You've lost another game on a touchdown pass with 17 seconds to play in a ball game. And you lost another game when you threw a Hail Mary that your guy almost caught. And I don't mean tipped caught. I mean Brenton Strange almost caught. And so you've lost 6 games. 4 of those losses are field goal at the end of the game, field goal at the end of the game, touchdown pass with 17 seconds to play, and Hail Mary that bounces in and out of your guys' hands. Now, in the Cleveland game, I don't think they outplayed Cleveland. But they did some of the others. So this is going to be that season, Hays. I think if you look back and you look what went wrong in 2024. Now, look, half the season's left. I get that. But some of the things that went wrong in 2024 are the ones you couldn't quite close. There have been 2 blowouts, but it's not a season of blowouts. It's a season of games you couldn't finish the deal.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And now the injury bug has really bitten hard. Now 6 guys left yesterday's game. The good news is it appears like 5 of them are not overly serious, but the one that is an absolute blow. Receiver Christian Kirk breaks his clavicle in the loss to the Packers, out for the season. Doug Peterson did tell reporters today that he has had surgery, so he is now on the mend. but will not return. And it does make you wonder. He's got a gigantic number next year, particularly if there's new leadership here. Have we seen Christian Kirk for the last time, which would be such a shame.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that till you asked it. But I agree with Bucky Brooks on this. I sure hope not. There are so many reasons he fits here. He and Trevor are close. He's a good player. He's a great guy. He is a leader. He's a stand-up guy. And oh, by the way, he's a really good player. This team doesn't have enough really good players and really doesn't have enough really good veteran players to say goodbye to one that fits on every no matter what the regime is, no matter who's doing what. You know how you win, Hays, in the NFL? With good players. You can talk about anything else you want. You win with good players. And this team doesn't have enough good players to say goodbye to a good player who I think wants to be on this team. I'm passionate about that. I really am.
Yeah, hopefully it's not the way that his Jaguars career ends, because Christian Kirk has been such a fantastic addition. Let's get it to around the AFC South. We'll start in Indianapolis. Anthony Richardson blasted for taking himself out of the game because he was tired, and a loss to the Texans. This feels like a breaking point for me with Richardson in Indianapolis. The center, Ryan Kelly, came out today and said, we expect a higher standard than that. And he just hasn't played well. His completion percentage is historically atrocious. And they do have a quarterback in Joe Flacco that seems to be able to operate at a high level. Frank, what should the Colts do? And what did you make of Richardson's performance?
I think now you have to play Flacco. I don't know that means you're done with Richardson forever. People want to tag forever on everything. I don't know that it's forever. It might be. But I think now, because of what happened, because you're still in a fight here, look, that's another team that's in every game. I mean, the Jaguars beat them on a last-second field goal. They've been in some really close games, so they're not a bad football team. I think Flacco gives them the better chance to win. I would not quit on Anthony Richardson. I would not get rid of him. You spent a 4th overall pick on him, and he's only been in the league a few years. I would not pull the curtain down, but I would play Flacco now.
Yeah, I agree. Staying in the division, the Detroit Lions destroyed the Tennessee Titans, 52-14. It was not that close. Tennessee only has one win on the year. Frank, we had to live with a decade of Derrick Henry tearing the Jaguars apart. Are we maybe 6 months away from Carson Beck being the number 1 pick of the Tennessee Titans?
I will say this. They ran off a really good coach in Mike Vrabel. And they brought in a guy that had never done it before in Brian Callahan. And I know some of these young offensive minds that had never done it before turned out to be pretty good. But was it Brian Callahan in Cincinnati, or was it Zach Taylor and Joe Burrow doing it in Cincinnati? And I don't know if they got that one right or not. I mean, they got demolished the other day. I don't think Levis is good. I don't think Mason Rudolph is particularly good. I don't know where that thing's headed. Again, one of the reasons you hold out hope here, I know this team's only won 2 games, but this team's way more like, these losses are way more like the Colts losses than the Titans losses. And I hold out a little bit of hope because Indianapolis has to figure it out, and you get to play the Titans twice. That didn't used to be something you looked forward to. I think you get to play the Titans twice, and so if you can get any more, I know you didn't ask about the Jags, you asked about the Titans, but my point is, if you can get any momentum going at all, the Titans are really a struggling franchise.
Yeah, without a doubt. We'll take an early scouting report at the Jaguars' next opponent, Philadelphia, who outscored Cincinnati 27-7 in the second half yesterday to earn a 37-17 road win. The Eagles are now 5-2.
When the Jags looked at these 5 games in a row, what I thought to myself was the Packers, the Vikings at home, and the Titans at home would be the games I thought they could get. I thought at Philadelphia and at Detroit were going to be tough outs. And now they've lost the first one, and here comes one of those tough outs. So I think Philadelphia I think they're physical. I think that's what makes them good. And their quarterback's physical. When your quarterback's physical, you're physical. And I think, now look, I hope this was a game that they played their good game this week. I hope they went all in this week, so they're not as good next week, which does happen in the league some. But I think they've got a good team.
We talked about it earlier in our take flight moment of the week. Washington rookie phenom Jaden Daniels with a Hail Mary to stun the Bears. Such an odd game because the Commanders were up, and then somehow, and Caleb Williams was playing awful.
Right.
And then somehow led 2 touchdowns to snatch the lead back late. And then with 20 seconds, Jaden Daniels able to get Washington in position and hit the miracle Hail Mary. I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. Where does Daniels' throw rank among the greatest throws that you've seen in your life as an NFL fan?
It's a great Hail Mary. Hail Mary is a different kind of a throw. You're not throwing to a streaking open receiver. You're firing it down there to see what happens. But in the most, to your question, where I think you're going with this, is the most dramatic plays in NFL history. Number one for me will always be Randall Cunningham scrambling around in the end zone forever before launching that big. I think that'll be first. Number two for me will probably always be Cordell Stewart at Colorado to Michael Westbrook, the Hail Mary to beat Michigan. So those are 1 and 2 for me. But this is on the ballot. This is if there's a Mount Rushmore of last-second ridiculous throws, it's on it. It was an amazing finish. And look, that's a team that's been through a lot of trouble, ownership trouble, name change. The stadium got old. That has been a really bad franchise for many years, but they seem to be blessed now. Dan Quinn might become, for the longest time, the best coach of in recent times. These young offensive-minded guys are all the rage. But some of those tough-nosed defensive guys, Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh and Mike Vrabel until he was fired, Quinn might be the latest incarnation of that. He might be a pretty good coach with a pretty good quarterback. We've always said, you get coaching quarterback figured out, the Commanders, this might not be a fluke. They might be pretty good.
I think they are pretty good. They're a fun team to watch right now, that's for sure. The 49ers got back on track last night with a win over Dallas. Frank, in your opinion, does this say more about San Francisco coming back or Dallas falling apart?
Dallas falling apart. I think San Francisco still has something there, Hayes. But I never bought Dallas. Even at the early part of the season when they looked like they were pretty good. Remember how bad they beat Cleveland in that opener, and Cleveland had been in the playoffs a year ago, and people thought Deshaun Watson would bounce back. And remember how everybody fell in love with Dallas after I've never bought it. I think this is probably the end of the road for Mike McCarthy. And I know they paid Dak, but I'm not a Dak guy. I don't think he's all these bright young quarterbacks in the league these days. I don't think he's I think he's just okay. I really do.
We'll get to the world of college football. The Miami Hurricanes cruise past Florida State for the victory. Frank, are you more impressed with Miami and what they can be, or more just dumbfounded that Florida State's become this bad?
Yeah, both is the answer, because I really think Miami's good. I just can't believe what's happened to Florida State. I am astounded. I mean that, Hayes. I'm astounded that it went that badly for the Noles. As for Miami, JJ, the one concern I have about the Canes, I told you defense a little bit. I worry that they're going to get to the playoffs. Obviously, they're going to be in the playoffs. They're probably going to win the league. They may go undefeated without being tested a whole lot. I almost kind of wish, JJ, they had a Michigan or a Michigan on it. Not an Ohio State or an Oregon, but a Michigan or a Texas A&M. You know what I mean?
Michigan
Someone like that.
Sucks.
Well, but A&M. So you know what I mean? Yeah, not a top 5 team.
I think Clemson will be a huge test, and I also think Florida's pretty decent. I mean, the more we see from Florida, the more I'm like, it's a pretty good team.
We'll find that out.
I don't think they're a top 10 team, top 15 even, but yeah, I do think they're a top 25 team. But to your point, Clemson is the one at the end of the year that I fully expect them to be in the ACC title game. So to me, that's a big test, huge. Even though if they go undefeated and lose to Clemson, I think they're still a lock for the playoffs.
Oh yeah, they'd be like the 6th seed at worst.
But not getting the bye.
Yeah,
sucks.
That's my concern. By the way, my friend Jamie Shelton just jumped in with a text that I've totally forgot about. Flutie.
Oh, Flutie, yeah.
Flutie against Miami.
I didn't forget it.
JJ says, thanks,
that one
Jamie.
was crazy
thanks for
because
reminding me of that.
It like fell perfectly into the guy.
But in terms of dramatic end game,
well, without a doubt,
that may be first.
Yeah,
I totally forgot about it. Good call, Jamie.
Yeah, and Doug Flutie won the Heisman that year. Let's stay in college football. Billy Napier met with reporters today and said facing Trevor Etienne, the now Georgia running back, is just part of the new college football. Says it's not the first time we faced a former teammate, and it won't be the last.
Yeah, and which is, by the way, what his answer should have been. What else is he going to say? He said the right thing. but Trevor Etienne's going to be a problem. Here, let me tell you the other problem. Trevor Etienne's one of the problems. Can I give you the other problem? The other 84 guys on scholarship in Georgia. That's the other problem. Those other 84 are going to be a bit of a problem for Florida.
I would think Etienne gets in the end zone at least twice on Saturday.
Yeah,
I would think Kirby Smart makes absolutely sure that happens. Let's get to Major League Baseball. What a start to the World Series. The Dodgers are up 2-0. Freddie Freeman has been an early Fall Classic hero. Game 3 is tonight at 8. Shohei Ohtani is expected to play. Frank, do you think the Dodgers build a 3-0 lead tonight?
I hope not, and I'm probably rooting for the Dodgers if I'm rooting for anybody. I'm a National League guy. But I would love it. JJ, wouldn't you love to see 7 of these?
I was about to say, I really hate the Yankees, but it would be kind of lame if they lost again tonight.
Yeah.
The good news is Ohtani is back. Like, at the end of that game, Game 2, I thought for sure, like, his series is over. He broke his thumb or he separated his shoulder or something, the way he was just on second base for a long time after caught stealing. But I guess it was just a stinger.
Which is good.
He's back. I love that.
Really good news. So when will Cole pitch again? Game 5 or 6, JJ? When will Garrett Cole go again?
I guess it would
Game
probably
5,
depend
right?
on where they're at, like in the series if they need him. But schedule-wise, probably 5th.
If the Yankees can win once and get to Cole, I don't think they're going to beat Cole again.
I agree. The Dodgers got really lucky to get out of Game 1 with a win.
Yeah, so I think if the Yankees win 1 and get to Cole again, we've got a pretty good series. But I love the series. I will be locked in tonight. I will watch every pitch, and I can't wait. I mean, that I cannot wait.
And the Monday Night Football game's not the best.
Yeah, Steelers, Giants.
Yeah, I can't. I like the World Series most years. I'm probably a bit of a fraud. I call myself a baseball guy, but if it's 2 teams, like last year, I didn't care much. I watched,
Yeah, D-backs, Rangers.
Yeah,
I found myself like seeing those 2 logos on the field and the World Series, and I was just like, this is badass.
Yeah.
This is special.
Yeah,
I've never seen a Yankees-Dodgers World Series in my life.
So I will be, absolutely on the couch telling the dog not to bother me. I will be.
Sounds good. We'll get you guys out on our musical note of the day, because this week, back in 1995, the Smashing Pumpkins released Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness. The double album featured 28 songs. It debuted at number 1 on the Billboard Top 200 and is certified diamond with over 10 million copies sold. The Infinite Sadness, Frank, that's kind of what we're feeling around here with the Jaguars at 2-6. This is, of course, Bullet with Butterfly Wings.
You know the other sadness is that a mid-'90s band is 30 years old.
Isn't that crazy?
A mid-'90s band is 30.
This came out when I was a sophomore in college.
My daughter's 32nd birthday was yesterday. I spent the day with her after the game. How did my daughter turn 32? I mean, it's just amazing to me that how quickly time. What did someone say? The days go slow, but the years go fast.
Yeah,
and it's so very, very.
Hey, 32's not old, Frank. 34 especially.
I get it. Well said. Good job on headlines as always. Thanks. We'll wrap the program after this.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
This is Brent Musburger's Action Update, brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
Buffalo Bills quarterback Josh Allen and Baltimore QB Lamar Jackson are the betting favorites to win this year's regular season MVP. Both Allen and Jackson are plus 350. Patrick Mahomes of the undefeated 7-0 Chiefs is plus 500. Jared Goff of the Detroit Lions, who are putting up over 33 points per game, he's at plus 700 to win the MVP. Jaden Daniels, rookie quarterback of Washington, plus 1,000. C.J. Stroud of the Houston Texans, plus 1,500. San Francisco's Brock Purdy and Philadelphia's Jalen Hurts, both at plus 2,000 to win this year's MVP. This update brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm Tony Desiri with your VSiN Action Update on 1010 XL.
This election, if you want someone who will take care of the messes, someone who isn't afraid to get dirty and work in the trenches, someone who will pump out the problems and prevent future ones, vote for the Duck.
Need your septic tank serviced? Call Duck Duck Rooter, your 5-star Google-rated septic company. Visit duckduckrooter.com.
I approve this message.
When you're stuck, call the Duck.
DuckDuckRooter.com.
Hey, sports fans, it's Hays Carlyon for MyBookie. Find your midseason stride with MyBookie. Take advantage of their live betting, especially if a heavy favorite gets off to a slow start. And check out their cool prop bets. If you haven't signed up, go to mybookie.ag and register for a free account. Use promo code 1010XL to get a double bonus. For a limited time, MyBookie will double your money on your first deposit. Let's take a look at some updated MyBookie lines. The Jaguars are a 7-point road underdog at Philadelphia. The over-under is 45.5 points. The Gators, a 16-point underdog against the Dogs. The Noles are getting 2.5 points at home against 4-loss North Carolina. Sign up with that promo code 1010XL to claim your deposit bonus. Again, it is a double bonus. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. And don't forget that promo code 1010XL. This is Hays Carlyon for Harrell and Harrell. I was at lunch with my good friend Holt, and he was telling me that sometimes a lawyer can get more from a case than their own client. I was surprised to hear this, but Holt said that doesn't happen with Harrell and Harrell. They'll never take a fee that is greater than their own client. When they say they treat their clients as a person and not a file, they mean it. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, call Harrell and Harrell at 904-251-1111. That's 904-251-1111.
Post-game Monday on 1010XL is brought to you by Dandy Foods, makers of quality fresh sandwiches and home of the good stuff.
Looking for an affordable and fast oil change? Well, Big Chief Tire has you covered. Frank Frangie here. Right now, take $10 off your next oil change at any of their 5 convenient locations. Their skilled technicians will keep your car running smoothly so you can hit the road with confidence. Whether it's routine maintenance or a more extensive service, Big Chief Tire is here to help. Visit BigChiefService.com or call 904-932-0950 to schedule your appointment and take advantage of this great deal. Big Chief Tire keeps Jacks rolling.
Guys, don't suffer through this season with prostate, bladder, or kidney issues. Ackerman Urology has 4 convenient locations with advanced urological care to improve your health and vitality. Visit AckermanUrology.com.
15,000 workers. I'm Brian Rose from Remedy Staffing. We survey 15,000 blue-collar workers each year to better understand what drives quality and dependability in our workforce. The survey shows when looking for a new job, the initial pay rate, job security, and safety while working are the most important factors for hourly workers. If you're an employer and would like to learn more about the voice of the blue-collar worker, please call us at 904-528-1933.
Have a group trip or company function soon? Mark Watson here with Hardball Creative. Get busy ordering the t-shirts and other swag you'll need. It's easy with Hardball.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
It's the chomp of the swamp and the bark of the dogs. Florida Georgia Week is enhanced by Ackerman Urology and Cancer Center and Kingfish Pest Control.
2 awesome rival football fan bases
on 1010XL.
When you head out for a night with friends or going to the big game, don't forget the best game plan to win the night is to designate a driver and guarantee a safe ride home. Hydrating between buds is the best play you can make. Bud Light, reminding all to drink wiser.
Fall in Florida. The leaves may not be coming down,
But the prices are at Beard's Diamonds.
It's the buy one, get one on wedding band sale.
All stackables, all right-hand rings, all eternity bands, and more are buy one, get one free.
That's at St. John's Town Center or BeardsDiamonds.com.
American Electrical is looking for bright minds and hard workers to help light up North Florida. The community continues to grow, and now you can grow your career with a company that will make sure you succeed through commitment. Take advantage of the Electrical Academy, dedicated to training select students. And the best news? It's free of charge. Log on to American-Electrical.com to find out more. They're leading the way in electrical contractors on the First Coast, and you can be part of the team. American Electrical, powered by professionalism. Equal opportunity employer.
If you're looking for custom metalwork, look no further than Superior Fence and Rail. Whether it's custom railing, shade structures, or custom entry gates, their expert team controls the turnkey process. From CAD design and raw metal to powder-coated finish and expert installation. When you choose Superior Fence and Rail for your custom metal project, you get a project that's, well, superior. So get off the fence and call Superior Fence and Rail today.
The Golf Club of Southampton has plenty going on, from a great round to a round with your buds, soaking up some football and great grub. Every Saturday and Sunday at Southampton, enjoy their game day special. Wings tossed in your favorite sauce and a cold pitcher of beer. Membership opportunities to take advantage of, too. Join Southampton with a paid initiation, and you'll get a $500 gift card. Perfect for golf, pro shop purchases, or the clubhouse. Check it out. It's all happening at the Golf Club of Southampton.
This is Dr. Turner Vossler, Assistant Team Physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Yesterday's heartbreaker in the bank came down to the final ticks, and the Jaguars lost to the Packers. While the Jags had moments of shine in a game of complimentary football, the defense failed to make a stop as the clock wound down. The Packers marched the ball down the field before Brandon McManus sealed the deal against his old team with a chip shot 24-yard field goal. Here's Josh Hines-Allen post-game in the locker room.
Yeah, complimentary football. I think that's what it all is. We both have spare moments, big plays here and there, but to capitalize, defense get a stop. What did the offense do? Or the offense gets a good turn, gets a touchdown. How do we respond to defense? I think that's what we have to be better at, because we can obviously play good football on both sides of the ball. We just have to complement each other a little bit better.
I'm Max Fink here with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the Cool Down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
All right, where have we been on the program today? A lot of Jaguar talk. Disappointing end to a back-and-forth game for sure. 2-6 just can't close the deal. That seems to be the problem with this Jaguar team. I think they would tell you that. Bucky Brooks joined us to talk about just exactly that and the Jags for most of our show today. Hays did a good job with headlines going through all the things going on in the NFL. We talked to FSU Miami. You asked an interesting question. What's more surprising, or what are we more taken by, the terrific season the Canes are having or the debacle that's the FSU season? What's your answer to that question, by the way?
It's got to be Florida State, because I think Miami is very good. I don't know that they're elite. We'll see. I mean, I certainly think they could. I think Miami can win the national title, but I would say that they're more in the second tier than the first tier. Florida State, I mean, it is honestly, it's the worst Florida State or Miami team since I've been following college football.
Yeah.
I mean, they are a complete mess offensively. They played at least somewhat inspired defensively the other night, but I do think schematically they just basically said, all right, we're just not going to get beat over the top, and we're going to make them go the length of the field. You never felt like Miami was at all threatened in the game. And yeah, I mean, now a 4-loss, think of this, a 4-loss North Carolina team is a 2.5-point favorite in Doak Campbell.
Doak Campbell, yeah.
A 4-loss North Carolina team that got 70 hung on them by James Madison.
Oh, yeah, and they played better last week. They finally had their best game. Let's say hello to Rick Ballou.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Injury Care Centers, the exclusive provider of BioTarget regenerative therapy for pain. Visit GoBioTarget.com for a location near you.
Ballou, do they have to just play Luke Kromenhoek now? Got to play him, right? He's better than the other guy.
Well, yeah, absolutely is. But, I mean, Mike Norvell put Brocklin in for the last 2 series.
Yeah, why was that?
Because he's a no-mine.
Okay.
Okay? I mean, there's no other way to say it.
There you go.
He's a terrible in-game coach.
Yeah, because
I mean, you could have 19 Falstaffs in you and foaming at the mouth and know that Luke Kromenhoek is the quarterback. Yet he puts Glenn back in, and today he's not going to tell us who's going to play.
Well, 2 things, by the way. I love Falstaffs. Okay, that's the most important thing of that.
God, Mike Norvell sucks. He really does. He's terrible.
But to your point, Joe, I'm going to get to the Jaguars, but real quick point.
Thank God. That's a good thing.
But Kromenhoek looks like, I'm serious about it, looks like he might be okay.
Yeah.
Like
well, how about the offensive line? Give him a half second
to
set his feet and complete a pass.
Rick,
softest offensive line I've ever seen.
What's the biggest problem with the 2-6 Jaguars, in your opinion? Serious question. What's the biggest problem?
Too soft. They start ridiculously slow. Bad coaching. I mean, they spend, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday diagramming the first 15 plays. The Jaguars can't do anything in the first quarter. They start every game down 2 possessions. They are in a complete coma in the first quarter. And then you ask them to come from behind and win a game. Trevor's loose then. Trevor's allowed to do what he wants. He can change plays at the line of scrimmage, a little bit more flow. They spent all night up scripting plays, and it's 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 7-0, 14-0, 10-0, no matter what it is. So, coaching.
Yeah, and I think
it goes on and on and on.
I think this will be a season, we talked about on the program today, Rick, that they will really look back and kick themselves at the games that they should have won. This is a game. I mean, anytime there's 2 and in the NFL, you're 2-6. You've had some close ones, but they've been beaten twice on field goals at the end of the game. They have been twice. They've been beaten once on a touchdown with 17 seconds left in a game. They've been beaten once when a Hail Mary, they almost caught it. It's been, and I'm not making excuses. 2-6 is 2-6, so it'll be a bizarre. I say bizarre, a gut wrenching season to look back at. What's coming up tonight on your program?
Just a lot of good news, a lot of look back at this weekend and all the great football that was played here in North Florida as well down in the Deep South. And by the way, I love what Mario Cristobal did. I wish my coach had guts like that and would pound the table and say, look at the trajectory of our program compared to the other programs. I mean, Miami hasn't won since what? Richard Nixon was our president,
right.
And they're bragging about it like they own everything, and that's what I love about Mario Cristobal.
I do too. All right, Rick Beluga's into the night right after this. By the way, one other thing about the Jaguar game that I forgot to get to. Did Logan Cook have the best punt in the history of the NFL?
Without a doubt.
It's the best punt of all time. I know Steve O'Neal punted 98 yards many years ago. It was 74 yards and went out of bounds at the 2. It's the greatest punt of all time.
Yeah.
So we got that, Hays. If there's nothing else, God dang it, we got that. Folks, that's our program. Don't go anywhere. Rick's next. We'll see you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. So long.